Birds of Prey arrives on home video this week with a plethora of exclusives. The Great Escape gets a Criterion release, and Flash gets a 4K restoration set. All this and more in the Mid-Level Physical Media Report. Stay tuned. Welcome back, guys, to the Mid-Level Physical Media Report, and we are back here for episode 4, and this week we have a lot to talk about. So, in addition to what's coming out this week, which I will cover a little bit later, we have some Q&A questions that were submitted from you guys on my Instagram stories. We have my pickups for the week. We have some deals we're going to cover for you guys. And we're also going to talk about a few news announcements that dropped this week as well. So, as always, guys, thank you all for joining me on this Monday afternoon. I appreciate it. This show is doing very well with you guys. It's getting the views. The people that are watching it are engaging with it, tuning in. I'm very happy with how this show is going, and I appreciate all of your all support. So if you are not subscribed to me yet on this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What are you guys waiting for? And go ahead and like this video. Every like will help out this video as far as the YouTube algorithms, moving it up the ladder so more people can discover it and check it out. And get all the great content that you guys get as well. And also make sure you leave a comment for me down below at the end of the video. So let's get right into it, guys. So we have some news that we're going to talk about. And the news was a little light this week. There's not too much. But the big thing that was announced this past week that's got the internet buzzing is the 4K restoration set of Flash Gordon, which will be due out on August the 3rd. This is being released by Studio Canal. I've actually never seen the film Flash Gordon, so it doesn't really resonate with me. But I have seen the movie Ted, and I do know the Queen song, so does that count? Anyway, I'm not, thrilled personally about this, but I know it's a set that a lot of people are excited about, and it is a fantastic set. I'm going to throw an image up for you guys to check out. So definitely, if you're interested in that, that'll be coming out on August the 3rd. The next announcement is Swallow, which was a smaller indie film that was released on VOD a couple months ago. That got a Blu-ray announcement from Shout Factory, and that's releasing on August the 4th. And I did get a chance to check out Swallow on VOD about a month or so ago. I reviewed it on my Instagram. That is a very interesting film that I can surprisingly recommend, despite the fact that it's a little disturbing and very weird. But I do recommend that movie. And if you haven't seen it, Shout Factory is an excellent distribution company to order from, so I do recommend them. And the next announcement is Eureka announced some new titles that they've got coming out from their catalog. 3 Edgar Allan Poe adaptations starring Bela Lugosi will be arriving July the 20th. And we also have Mr. Vampire, which will be arriving in July as well. So those are the 2 titles being released from them. And besides that, guys, that's really all I've got for the news. So let's go ahead and shoot right into the deals, guys, because I know this is the main reason why you watch this show. You want to see the deals. You want to know how can I save money? And I'm happy to tell you. I'm happy to dig into this into these deals and let you all know how you're going to save a couple bucks here and there, because all the dollars that you can save on one Blu-ray, you can put towards the next. Add more to your collection. So that's always a good thing. The first deal I've got, guys, is Charlie's Angels, which is a movie that was released on Blu-ray a couple months ago, I think. It's going for $14.99 right now on Blu-ray. Not a fantastic deal, but it's still a reasonable deal compared to $20 is what it was. So if you want to check out Charlie's Angels on Blu-ray, that's for $14.99. The next one, guys, is we have The Farewell, which was a very critically acclaimed A24 film from last year. That is $9.99 on Amazon right now, and I've seen The Farewell, and I highly recommend it. So if you have not grabbed The Farewell yet, go ahead and get on Amazon and check that one out. Also, guys, we have the Tom Hanks starring Fred Rogers movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That is on Blu-ray for $14.99 right now as well. And Dark Waters, which released a couple months ago as well on Blu-ray, is $14.99. So those are some good deals for some pretty new titles that came out, marked down from $20 to $14.99. We also have the Jesus Rolls, which actually just came out last week. That is already $12.99 on Amazon. So I don't know if it just didn't do well and they're trying to slash the price so they can get more so they can sell more copies, because the movie did not review very well. So maybe that has a little bit to do with it. But those are the deals, guys. Those are the deals that I'm going to cover this week. So I hope that helped. I hope you guys save a little bit of money based on those reviews. So right now, we're going to go straight into the top 5 Blu-ray and 4Ks of last week. And keep in mind that these are about a week delayed. So this isn't technically last week, but it's more the week before. It's the week of April 26th through May the 2nd. I think they throw these Blu-ray totals up during last week, so it's something I can't cover like week of on this channel. But I do like to dig into it, because I think it's kind of interesting to follow this. You know, we don't really have a box office to follow right now, so to kind of gauge the success of certain movies, you know, we can kind of tell like what people are buying in physical media, and I don't know, it's interesting. So coming in at number 1 as far as Blu-rays, you have Bad Boys for Life. Number 2, you have Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Number 3, you have Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge. Number 4 is IP Man 4. And number 5 is Doolittle. So Doolittle is still hanging in that top 5 Blu-rays. So I think it's a lot of families just kind of checking that one out, seeing it when they go into Walmart, and they're like, oh, it looks like a fun family movie to watch at home with quarantine with the kids. So they go ahead and pick it up. So I actually watched Doolittle last week. It's fine. I don't think it's the worst movie in the world. It's definitely not what I would call a good movie, but it's okay, and there's some fun parts for kids. So if you have some kids and you're looking for something kind of dumb to sit down and watch with the family, it might do the trick. So I don't know. It may not be the worst Blu-ray pickup in the world to buy Doolittle. So let's move into the 4Ks. Star Wars Episode 9 is still hanging in there at number 1. Number 2 is IP Man 4. Number 3 is Rambo Last Blood, still sticking in that top 5. Number 4 is 1917, and number 5 is Joker. So what I find interesting here is the fact that Bad Boys for Life is not on the top 5 4Ks, and I don't have my notes from last week to reference if it was then. I really don't remember, but I feel like it was. So yeah, that's kind of interesting that Bad Boys for Life fell off after a week of the 4K top 5. So yeah, that's our top 5 Blu-ray and 4Ks for the week of April the 26th through May the 2nd. So, all right, guys. So right now at this point in the show, I'm going to go ahead and dig into some of my pickups from last week. And I actually had a pretty good week. I grabbed about 6 titles last week. Some are a little older, some are newer. But the first thing I got, and this just came in the mail today, I'm super excited about it. I plan to do an unboxing on this channel at some point in this week. Maybe a review as well. But I got the Mask of Zorro. So it finally came in the mail. Super excited about it. This cover is awesome. So I'll save the rest of my thoughts on that when I go into the Blu-ray unboxing. So we also have The Lodge, which I picked up and reviewed on my show, The Haunting of Mid-Level, last Thursday. And I watched this last week. So if you want to check out my thoughts on The Lodge, back up and go check out The Haunting of Mid-Level Chapter 3 from last Thursday, and you can check that out. All right, so these came in the mail over the weekend, and there's something I ordered off of Amazon like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm starting to learn that if I want something right away, don't order it off of Amazon, because they are taking about 2 to 3 weeks to deliver stuff. So, but I didn't. These weren't urgent. I just saw deals on there, so I went ahead and got them. The first one is Sleepaway Camp, The Scream Factory, and I got that for $13 on Amazon, so that was a pretty decent deal. The next one is David Lynch's Lost Highway. That was a deal on there for $10, and because I'm doing my 1997 series on Instagram, I thought I would check that out and include that in the series. All right, guys. So these next ones were kind of random pickups. This one I got at Walmart last week when I got The Lodge. It's The Wave and The Quake, and they're both on, it's a double pack, and I rarely pick up double packs. I'm not a huge fan of double packs just because I like everything to be individually. I won't buy like sets of films. A lot of the times, if they come in the sets or they come individually, I will pay more to buy them individually than I will buy them in the set, because I like the separate covers on each one. But I went ahead and grabbed this double pack because I've been wanting to check out The Wave. It was on Netflix for a long time, but they took it off. So I'll definitely check out The Wave, and The Quake I heard was pretty good as well. So I might check that one out too. And the last one, guys, is actually a DVD. Yes, I do still buy DVDs. In this rear window on DVD. So this vintage art series is at Walmart right now. They got other stuff. They got like the Birds and a few other classic films. But I really like this cover, and to be honest, I haven't seen Rear Window in forever. I want to rewatch it, and it was only $8, so I went ahead and it's going on like 15 on Blu-ray on Amazon. So I just want to watch the film. So I'll go ahead and watch it on DVD. I'm not like a huge snob when it comes to like HD. I don't have to watch everything in HD. So I'm going to check that out within the coming weeks, likely on just in my spare time. Probably review it on my Instagram. All right, guys, so let's go into, right now we're going to go into this week's releases, and then after that, to wrap up the show, I'm going to go into the Q&A questions that I have from you guys. So I want to get into these new releases this week because there's a lot of stuff to cover. This is a pretty good week. Like I said last week, May is a really strong month for physical media. So it's, it doesn't slow down this week, so I'm telling you. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the releases. I have most of them written down. But the first one I want to talk about, guys, is the big one, and it comes out tomorrow, and that's Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. What I find interesting about that is it has the old title on the Blu-ray and 4Ks, and the Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn, but yet they changed the title in the theater to Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. So I don't know if they're like going back on it again or if that was just a theater promotion thing and now they're going to switch it back to the old title. And it's like, how is this movie going to be remembered? Or maybe these covers on Blu-ray.com came out like before they changed the title in theaters, and maybe it'll be different when you pick it up tomorrow. I have no idea, guys. It's weird, that whole thing, that whole title change thing. But anyway, Birds of Prey comes out tomorrow on Blu-ray for $24.99, and it's getting a 4K release as well for $29.99. And the two editions that it has that I've found is Best Buy is doing a steelbook, of course, for $34.99, and that's a 4K steelbook. And they are also doing a Target edition slipcover for $24.99. So that exclusive is the exact same price as the Blu-ray, and that's a Blu-ray as well. Target kind of disappoints me. I wish they did their editions. They used to. They do for some. But I wish they did their special editions in 4K and Blu-ray. It's usually just Blu-ray because a lot of the times I like the Target editions the most. I like them better. And I'm going to go into this later because somebody asked me a question about it. But I usually gravitate more towards the Target editions than I do the Best Buys just because I like the covers better. Just like that Joker Blu-ray that came out in January, that Target edition was awesome. And I bought it. Over the 4K, even though the movie would have looked better in 4K probably, but I really like that cover the best. So yeah, those are the editions that are coming out. So in the comments below, guys, if you're planning on picking up Birds of Prey, go ahead and let me know which one you're picking up down there. All right, guys, so the next big one is Call of the Wild, and that's getting a Blu-ray and 4K release, and that's, of course, the Harrison Ford action-adventure survival movie. That's being released by 20th Century Fox, and it's also interesting that they're still saying that these are being released by 20th Century Fox. I don't know if the distribution company is still called Fox or they just haven't changed it, but from what I thought that they were now being called 20th Century Studios, but on Blu-ray.com it still says 20th Century Fox, so that's interesting. So yeah, that's coming out tomorrow. We also have Fantasy Island is coming out on Blu-ray tomorrow, and that's being released by Sony. So I have seen Fantasy Island, and I didn't think it was as terrible as most people thought it was. I thought it was decent. It definitely was nothing great. It's nothing I can actually recommend. But if you like horror and you're looking for a dumb fun time watching horror, you could do worse. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if it's worth picking up tomorrow, but it's okay. Maybe a Redbox rental. We also have The Photograph, and that's coming out on Blu-ray tomorrow. That's being released by Universal. And that, of course, is the kind of traditional Valentine's Day love story starring Keith Stanfield and Issa Rae, I think is her name. Yeah, so it's starring both of them, and that releases tomorrow. We also have Vivarium, which is starring Imogen Poots and Jesse Eisenberg. And that's that weird kind of sci-fi dystopian movie that has a lot to deal with quarantine that a lot of people were saying this is not the right time to watch this movie. I have not checked that movie out. I was debating on picking up the Blu-ray, but I don't know if I'll grab that tomorrow when I'm out. But that's being released by Lionsgate. So let's go ahead and go to the two Shout Factories that we have coming out tomorrow. The first one is Lazy Susan, and that's being released by Shout Factory itself. And the next one, this is the big one, Idle Hands, which is, of course, the 1999 horror classic Idle Hands, is being released by Scream Factory. And look at that cover. That cover is awesome. Like, I don't love that movie. It's actually been a long time since I've seen it, but that cover on the Scream Factory is insane. Like, so I actually went ahead and ordered it. So when I get it in, I plan on watching it and doing a review on my channel. So yeah, I mean, the thing about Scream Factory is I order a lot of those based on the artwork if I like them, and it just depends. It's heads or tails if I like the movie or not, because a lot of them I haven't seen in forever. Like, I bought the Silent Night Deadly Night movie, and that's not a great horror movie that I love by any means, but the cover on it is awesome. The same thing with Silent Hill. I don't love that movie, but I bought it because the cover was so awesome. So I'll buy Idle Hands, and I think it's definitely worth a rewatch, and maybe I'll like it a little bit better on the second viewing. So the next release, guys, I'm going to talk about is the new Star Trek trilogy. The Kelvin timeline is coming out in 4K, and I don't know if any of those films have ever released before in 4K, at least individually. I'm not sure about that, but that's being released by Paramount, and it's one of those kind of 3-pack sets that includes all 3 of the films on 4K. I'm pretty sure that Beyond had a 4K release, but I'm not sure about the other ones. So if you like Star Trek, you like the new Star Trek films, that might be something you're interested in checking out. All right, guys, so the next one, and this was one I was pretty excited for because I'm really into trying to go back and watch some classic films. And the cover on this is insanely awesome. And this is an old Steve McQueen film. It's called The Great Escape. And that's getting a Criterion release. And I actually did order that. I ordered it off of Best Buy because they'll do a lot of releases that aren't in their store, but they'll have them online. So right now, Best Buy is doing a much better job of delivering stuff quickly. You know, I don't get everything like on the day of that it releases, but I'll usually get it a couple of days later if I go ahead and order it. And they're definitely faster than Amazon right now. So if you're looking to get stuff a little quicker, I do recommend ordering from Best Buy. And they have a lot of these more obscure titles that they might not sell in their store, but they will sell them online. So hopefully I get The Great Escape in this week, and I want to try to do an unboxing and review on that one as well. The next thing, guys, and I don't know if anybody's a wrestling fan out there, but WrestleMania 36, the controversial no audience WrestleMania, is coming out on Blu-ray this week. And I used to be a big wrestling fan back in the day, not so much in the past 10 years, but I did think it was interesting to have a WrestleMania with no audience, so I don't know. I don't think I'm going to pick that up on Blu-ray because I could probably just get the WWE Network and watch it. But that is interesting. It's an interesting piece of history right there for sure. We also have Blood Tide, which is an Arrow release that's coming out tomorrow, and it's some kind of older, I think from 1982 maybe? I think it's 1982. A 1982 kind of horror film is coming out for Arrow Video. And the Warner Archive actually has 3 releases coming out tomorrow. They have Wax Museum, Lucifer Season 4, and Inside Daisy Clover. And I think I went over all of those a couple weeks ago on this report, but those are coming out tomorrow. Mill Creek Entertainment's got a few things coming out tomorrow. They've got Enemy Gold and The Dallas Connection. They also have a couple double packs coming out. One that has Hollywood Story and New Orleans Uncensored, and the other one that is The Man from Alamo and They Came to Cordura. So I'm not really familiar with any of those films, but Mill Creek always does an excellent job with their releases. So if you know those films and you're interested, I definitely recommend purchasing from Mill Creek. Also, another thing I'm seeing here is, and I didn't have this written down, The Terrifier, which is a horror film from I think 2017 or 2018, with Art the Clown. It's pretty popular amongst the horror community, but that's getting a Blu-ray release, which is kind of confusing because I was almost positive that was already out on Blu-ray, but maybe it's a new cover or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, if you're interested in The Terrifier, that's getting a Blu-ray release tomorrow as well. And the last thing I'm going to cover is this Kino Lorber triple pack, which is kind of like a little, it's one of those little big boxes that has the individual Blu-rays inside. And that has The Dark Side of Cinema 2, Thunder on the Hill, The Price of Fear, and The Female Animal. So I'm sorry, The Dark Side of Cinema Part 2 is what it's called, and then the 3 films that I discussed afterwards are what's going to be in the set. So that does it for the new releases, guys, that are coming out this week. So like I said, let me know what interests you in the comments below, what you plan on picking up. I'm very interested in discussing that and talking about that with you guys. So right now, guys, we're going to roll into the Q&A portion of the show. And man, did I get just an overwhelming response this week. I got a lot of questions. I've got like 8 questions here to cover. And a lot of great questions that I'm really happy to go over. Let's get into the first question, guys. And the Unboxing Movies actually sent me 2 questions that I'm going to try to answer the best I can. And the first thing he asked is, what's your favorite slipcover? So for me, like, that's kind of easy because I love the Shining slipcover that was released last year. And I'll go ahead and see if I can get this in focus up here. That Shining slipcover is amazing. Like, I was anticipating it all year from the second they announced it, and it just, when I finally got to hold it in my hand, like, it just looks so awesome. I just love it. It's one of the coolest slipcover designs that I've ever seen. So it's fantastic. I love that slipcover. The next question that Unboxing Movies asks is, what is the most expensive Blu-ray you have bought? So, I'm not somebody that will pay an arm and a leg to get some kind of rare Blu-ray that I'm looking for. Like, I don't like paying a lot for an individual movie. So, a lot of times a real expensive movie comes out, or like an Arrow set. A lot of those are like $40 when they first come out, Criterions. I will not buy them right out of the gate unless there's some kind of a discount. Like, I'm not going to pay $45 for a set. And I also don't buy a lot of big box sets. Like I said, I like to buy the stuff individually. So while I may be paying more in the long run for buying individuals of that movie, I would rather have the individual movies than a box set. So that kind of keeps me from buying anything that's really expensive, at least one particular one. So to answer your question, I would probably have to say just all of my steelbooks, because a lot of the steelbooks I bought for like Marvel movies, Star Wars, DC movies, a lot of them are $35. So that's pretty much the cap on what I'm going to spend on a movie is $35. So I hope that answers your question. So let's move on to the next one, guys. And this one comes from Nateflix Reviews. And he asks, what's your favorite style of packing? Steelbook, digibook, regular plastic. So, and why is what he asked. So, I really like this question. This is a very interesting one. And if you guys don't follow Nateflix Reviews, like, he has a YouTube channel. He does movie reviews. He does them on Instagram. It's a great page and a YouTube channel to follow and subscribe to. So go ahead and follow him if you haven't yet. So, yeah, this is a great question. And because it's something that's kind of evolved with me over time as a collector, and I've only been like really seriously collecting for about 3 years, probably back in 2017. And in the beginning, like, I really was about collecting those like limited editions, steelbooks and Target digibooks and all that kind of stuff. But then I've kind of discovered over time that they're not always the best, at least as far as aesthetically. For me, like, I always end up liking the 4K covers and all that stuff more. So now I'm just about like, what's the best cover? Like, if I like the steelbook cover the most, I might go ahead and buy that one. But if I like the 4K cover just as much and I get it a little bit cheaper, I'm going to buy the 4K cover. So it's not all about getting the collectible stuff anymore. And yeah, to be honest, like, I'm not a huge fan of steelbooks anymore unless I really like the cover. Digibooks, like, I'll buy some Target ones sometimes, but yeah, it's just something I'm not as enamored by as I was in the beginning. So to answer your question, probably regular plastic would be my pick. Just a slipcover. Like, nothing to me feels better just holding a movie with that slipcover in your hand. Like, it feels way better than a steelbook. The steelbooks, you pick them up and they're all cold and just hard to hold. And like, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you know that I take a lot of Blu-ray shots and I post them on there. Steelbooks take horrible photos. Some of them are okay. Some of them take good photos. some of them just take shitty photos, and I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks aesthetically. For me, like a 4K or a Blu-ray slipcover, like those take the best photos, and they look the best as far as just pictures that I would post on there. So I've gotten way more into collecting just the regular slipcovers. So to answer your question, it's regular plastic. That's the answer. So the next question, guys, comes from M. Legault17, and he asks, what's your favorite Blu-ray you own? So to answer that question, I'm assuming, I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know if he means like of everything, like all my collector sets and 4K. So I'm going to answer this kind of literally. So when he asks Blu-ray, I'm going to give you a Blu-ray that I own, not a 4K. And just to keep things different, because somebody asked me what's my favorite slipcover, what's my favorite, 4K, all that stuff. So with this one, I was trying to look at them all and just look at which cover do I like the most, which one just grabs me every time I look at it. And the Moonlight Blu-ray, it's just an excellent Blu-ray. It's an excellent cover. Like, I love this poster. I love this movie. Like, I love everything about this movie. But this pretty much with a lot of my A24 collections, like if I was to list like my top 5 Blu-rays, they would probably all be A24. I love the covers they do. I love the slip covers. I'm like obsessed with collecting them all with the slip covers. So every time I'm out and I see an A24 film with a slip cover, like, I buy it. If I don't have it, no questions asked. If I see it, I buy it. But yeah, Moonlight out of all those is by far my favorite. I just love this cover and I love this movie. So Moonlight is my answer there. And let's move on to the next question, guys. And this one comes from Mr. Video Store. And as far as I know, I'm pretty sure this is the first question that Mr. Video Store has asked. So welcome to the show and the channel, Mr. Video Store. And he asks, do you feel like including digital codes with Blu-rays has helped or hurt physical media? Which is also a great question. So when I was thinking about this and kind of what this question is really referring to, has it helped or hurt physical media? So, I mean, obviously the idea of releasing movies in general on digital has hurt physical media. I mean, it just has. Like, if you had the option to buy it digitally, obviously that's going to hurt the release of physical media. But then you throw in the fact that you're including the code in there. So will that interest people to buy the Blu-ray because they know that they're getting both, and maybe they want a physical and a digital copy because they like to watch stuff digitally, but they also just want to own it just in case something happens and their digital service goes down. I think just having that comfort of actually having the disc. So I think in that way, it kind of does both. I don't think that putting the digital code in the Blu-ray in and of itself is necessarily hurting physical media. I think it's more the fact that there's even that option to begin with. That's what's hurting physical media. So do I think it's hurting? No, not really. It might be hurting in the sense because you got to think that maybe the person that's getting buying the Blu-ray is giving the code to their friends, or like I do, like I give the codes away in digital giveaways. So for me, giving that code away in digital giveaway, that is taking my code and then it's taking away from a future Blu-ray purchase. So in that way, that hurts it. So yeah, I can see it both ways. I don't think that the actual act of putting the digital code in the Blu-ray is hurting Blu-ray sales necessarily. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Video Store. And let's move on to Iceman's Movies, who's a regular contributor of this channel. Thank you, Iceman's Movies. And he has 2 questions he'd like to ask. And the first one is, do you like the Birds of Prey Steelbook? And will you be ordering it? So the answer to that is yes, I do like that cover, but no, I'm not going to get the Steelbook. Because like I said earlier, I'm just not, unless it's just a Steelbook that blows me away, I'm not interested in buying Steelbooks anymore. I'm just not. So for this one, I am planning on getting the, I was going to go with the 4K cover because I do like the 4K cover, but I think for this one, I'm going to get the Target edition, which I've been looking online, and the Target edition is pretty divisive. A lot of people are saying that's a horrible cover. I actually really like that cover. I think it's cool. I think it's cool, like with the comic stuff, and like I like getting exclusives sometimes, and like I always gravitate towards Target for some reason. Those covers always grab me just a little bit more. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to head to Target tomorrow and see if I can, of course, with my face mask and gloves on, and see if I can check out that Target edition. So maybe pick up the 4K down the line. That's the thing. Like if I grab the exclusives now on Blu-ray, I can always pick up the 4K later if I want to, like on Black Friday or something when it's only $10. So that's what I always think about there. And the next question he asks is, I pre-ordered Bloodshot and 47 Ronin Steelbooks, and apparently they got delayed. So what are your thoughts on that? Yeah, man, I don't know what was going on with Best Buy last week, but I heard a lot of people were having issues getting their Bloodshot Steelbooks and 4Ks and all that stuff. Me personally, I had the Mask of Zorro planned for store pickup, and they canceled the in-store pickup on me like that morning. So yet last Tuesday I was planning on going to Best Buy to pick up my copy of the Mask of Zorro, and I got an email notification early in the morning, and they said that that was canceled. I couldn't do that anymore. So I quickly changed it to an online ordering, and I got it this morning. So yeah, I don't know what was going on last week with the Bloodshot Steelbooks. I actually didn't hear anything about the 47 Ronin Steelbooks. But yeah, I hope they get that stuff together. And I haven't heard if they fixed that problem yet. So I'd be interested in knowing that if you could let me know down below. Yeah, I don't know what the deal was, man. The only thing I can chalk it up to is maybe it's quarantine related. And, they just had problem with the production of them and getting them out. Maybe they lacked the manpower to get them out of the warehouse or whatever. Maybe the truck driver called in that was supposed to be delivering them. I don't know. It could be a wide variety of things. But let's move on to the last question, guys. And this one comes from Shane.movies. And he asked me, what do you think is your best looking 4K Blu-ray? So this was probably one of the first 4K Blu-rays I bought, but the best looking, the one that blew me away. And this movie just looks great in general, so it probably wasn't hard to adapt it to a good looking 4K. But Blade Runner 2049 looks freaking amazing in 4K. So that's by far my favorite 4K. And I also love the cover on this one. Interesting story about this is the steelbook for this. I love that 4K steelbook, and I was so excited to pick that up. The day it came out, we got like a massive snow blizzard in my hometown, and I couldn't get out to pick it up unless I wanted to risk my life. And I'm not really into doing that for any movie. As much as I love movies and 4Ks, I'm not going to really risk my life out there. But yeah, and then I tried to go to the store the next day when it calmed down and some of the snow melted, and they were out of that 4K steelbook. So I went ahead and grabbed the slipcover, and then I grabbed the original Blade Runner as well. So I got them both to match. But yeah, Blade Runner 2049 looks freaking phenomenal in 4K, so I definitely recommend that. But that does it for the show, guys. We've been going for about 30 plus minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of the Physical Media Report, episode 4. And remember that this Thursday I have my horror show. If y'all haven't checked that out yet, it's called The Haunting of Mid-Level, where I discuss horror. I do Q&As on that, just horror-related questions, and we get real deep and nerdy into the horror community, and it's a whole lot of fun. I also plan on doing unboxing and reviews this week of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, The Mask of Zorro, and I'll probably maybe do giveaways for both of those. I'm not entirely sure yet. But yeah, that's what's to come on my channel. I also need to finish up my Paramount Presents line and do reviews for those, The King of Creole and To Catch a Thief before the new line comes out, because I really want to get reviews out for those. I love that new series. But yeah, that does it for this episode, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and like this video. It would mean the world to me. Comment down below any pickups you plan on grabbing this week, and we'll see you next time.